Okay guys, so what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna convert this Harbor Freight engine stand into a run stand. All right, so I've already kind of started and I figured let's do some DIY. So I'll kind of explain to you the plan that I have. I'll explain to you how I cut this to begin with. And so, see, you got that leg is wider than the front legs, okay? So all I did is make sure this is pushed in flush right here to give enough distance out, like forward, get more of the wheels in front of the weight. All right, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make this part as long as the back part. And so, which for this particular one, 27.5 inches is what's gonna do it. So what I did is found center, okay, found center here, and then I just rough lined out this, cut it out so it'll slip on. And so on this front piece here, I'm gonna set a bolt. I'm gonna set 2 bolts here. Well, here, 2 bolts here. So it'll, this weight and this weight will share with each other here, okay? And then what I'm gonna do is I got the 2-inch 1/8 wall square tube here, okay? So then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take, pretend like this is the square tube. I'm gonna stick the square tube inside here at the end, okay? And I'm gonna weld it to here, all right? And then on that end, I'm gonna get some of this, okay? And I'm gonna put it there. And I'm gonna use 2 bolts. I'm hooked on that engine. I'm gonna put 2 bolts down here. So I'm gonna weld it to here and to this plate here, okay? All right, so when I wanna switch engine stands, I can. So I'll take the bolts out here in the front, and I'll take these bolts out here. Everything will pull out forward here, okay? So I'll be able to just pull everything out forward and slip it onto the next one, okay? So, and then after that, I'm gonna put the sides on. Just pretend like these are the sides, and they're welded inside here. So I got my plates. I got a plate from the motor mounts I built for the first generation Durangos and Dakotas 4-wheel drives motor mounts I make, okay? So now I'm gonna get this plate and I'm going to get, let me take this off real quick. So pretend like that angle iron's on there. I'm gonna get angle iron here. I'm gonna get the square stock, weld it to here and down to this angle iron, okay? Boom, I'm gonna weld it here. And then I'm gonna put either 2 bolts here or here. So when I unscrew the mount in this, I can pull it out this way. Because I don't want to turn this way, because now I can't move it with pulling that out, okay? And so I'll just drill, I got the bolts, I'll just drill 2 holes, and then weld that square stock here and here, okay? So this is just gonna be a Hemi stand, okay? I can use, like if I do a different motor, I can just get an engine plate and build another square stock with an angle iron and just make these interchangeable and just drill different holes as I need, right? So that's gonna be the frame base here, all right? So there's that. And this plan might change. And then I'm gonna take, so this is a 2-inch, so I'm gonna get an 1 3/4 inch square stock. I'm gonna put it in here. So what that's gonna do is I'm gonna build the radiator stand off of this, okay? So I'm gonna drill a hole and then weld a nut right here, okay? And then I'm gonna have a bolt that goes down that'll tighten onto the square stock that goes in here. It'll tighten and hold it, so I can slide this and adjust it where I want it for any engine. Okay, I'll bring it out, then I'll build the stand for the radiator. Okay, the controls and stuff, I don't know if I'm gonna have just something off to the side here or off on a different table after I'm wiring. So I don't know what I'm gonna do with the controls yet, where I'm gonna put the little board. But anyway, and then if I wanna do a battery tray, I can put a battery tray in there. But with this one, I'm gonna run an alternator. Just go into the junkyard, just run an alternator. I have a spare harness off the 2010 Jeep Grand Cherokee. Let's see, and the computer with skim delete. I got the skim deleted on it. So that's what's gonna run the engine. And then I'll get an electric throttle pedal. So I have throttle, and then I'll run the OBD2 port. I can hook it up to HP tuners and run the scan. So when it's running, it can tell me everything. So when I sell this engine, because I want to sell it after I rebuild it, back to OEM specs, I'm going to sell it. And whoever buys it can see it running on the stand, and all the gauges and everything. You'll be able to see everything that it's doing. Yeah, obviously no AC, nothing like that, but that is it. And then this little guy here, for the starter, is supposed to, got this from Summit. It's supposed to go onto the block somehow. Quite haven't figured it out yet. But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get the starter, put the starter on this, and then figure it out as I go. And so obviously there's the flex plate flywheel. So got that from Summit. That was only 25 bucks. Yeah. What else? That's it. I think on the engine stand, I'll show you all the wiring and stuff. But yeah, that's the engine stand, just a frame, so everything can come, the frame will come off this way, and the mounts, the test frame will come off this way. And so it'll keep it from twisting. I mean, people start them on these janky engines on this janky engine stand all the time. Some do fail, but that's probably because they don't have these tight. You got to really crank these guys down really tight. And the engine is level this way, so when I build the mounts, they're level. And I'll lift this up a little bit. I'll have that lifted up when I measure from the mount to the crossbar. But yeah, that's how it is, because I'll be able to take everything apart, set it off to the side, and even like, how can I say? Even this stand that's going to slide in and out, the top piece will probably be even like adjustable and slide it up and down too. I'll probably do that with it too, so that any other engines I can do it, or I can take it apart, and then everything will be like flush when I go and hide it. When I stick it behind other things, it'll just go behind something. The radiator will sit straight up and down, so it won't have this like elbow, so I can store it better. So this is 1.5 inches. I'm gonna make this adjustable. Put a bolt there, let's drill a hole, put a bolt, weld it there, weld a nut and a bolt, screw it down so it can be adjustable. And there you go. Because this is 2 inch, 1.5 inches. So my regular bits, they're just not, it's not sharp enough, not working. So I just have these step bits. This one fits the 1/2 inch, goes all the way to 1/2 inch that I used in all these other holes, right? But this one I wanted a little bit bigger, so I used this, and this step bit only went to there. Just to make it bigger, so the bolt doesn't get wedged in there with the nut. So now that we got that tightened down, so what I did is I measured. So where I started from was the base was, I wanted 18 inches at the starting point inside the tube, and then another 10 inches sticking out. So this pipe is 28 inches long. So I have this tight, it's hot still, so it's not gonna move, okay? So this is my base starting point. That's gonna bring the radiator here. So of course I can loosen this. I can pull it out a whole nother, like, 15 inches or so, and give it some here, and I can have the radiator stick out far if I ever need that for any other reason. So now what I'm gonna do is I got the 2 inch, the 2x2, which is the same as this. I'm gonna put a 2 inch piece here, like that. Okay, and I'm gonna use that to slide, which will also help adjust the in and out as well. Okay, that's what I'm gonna work on now. So I'm gonna measure up to about, because the base is so the base of the radiator, I'm gonna put it to about the bottom of the crank. So this is where the base of the radiator is in the neutral position, and that should give me the radiators higher than this. But again, this is going to have adjustability, the radiator will have adjustability, but the whole thing is when I take it all apart, that it's all vertical, like all the pieces are vertical, so I could stack it somewhere, like, without having to have all these angles, and to where it's hard for me to stack it behind something because the garage is small. Okay, so that's one of the other reasons too, is mostly that. So when I build this pipe here, okay, and that's how I'm going to do it. Actually, I'm going to build it up to about here, to the top of the pulley. I apologize, to the top of the pulley, because I'm also going to put another 2 inch piece here to slide over the 1.5 inch, so I can adjust this up and down as well. And again, I can also take that piece and put it back, take this piece, put it somewhere. The smaller I can break it down, the better for me for storage. So that's where I'm headed to now. So now I'm going to cut my 2 inch 2 inch piece for the sliding part to go over the 1.5. Okay, so since this is a 1/2 inch smaller than this, So I got my 1/8 inch angle iron and just stuck the bar on there. So that'll give it even spacing. Plus it's on the floor, so it's gonna keep it squared up. Because if I twisted it and then I put something on here, like if this post twists, it's not gonna want to slide, you know what I mean? So I'm trying to make it square. So an 1/8 inch makes up the gap here and here, and keeping the floor is keeping it squared. So let's go ahead and weld that. And don't pick up metal with sharp shards with one finger. I hate it when you're welding and you get a glare on that side and you just like blind once it starts. Go. Sturdy. Next, I gotta build a platform that it sits on. Let's see, making it, I can make it a little, I can make it 28 inches, which is about what this is. I can go 27, maybe make it a little less. Let's see. Well, 27 and a half. Let's just make it 27. Not right there. So 13 and a half, center. So since this bolt is on this side and it brings it this way, I'll put the bolt on this side so it recenters it back. Because it does tilt when you tighten this down, it tilts it. So I'll put the bolt for this sliding piece on this side. So we'll go 27. So that angle iron and that the 2x2 I cut is now going to be, I'm going to do the same thing that I did to this. I'm going to use the leftover angle iron, but it's kind of hot, so let me let it cool down. I'll get back to you. $27 divided in half is 13 and a half. Messed up. I'm trying to rush because I have to be somewhere, and that's supposed to be flipped, and I gotta cut it off. So I'm drilling the hole on the opposite side, the one at the bottom. I'm not really pressing that hard. I'm just kind of letting my arms do it. Big enough. Now, find a good nut for that. All right, so my mistake, that's my mistake. So now I gotta I'm gonna kind of recess it in there a little bit without kind of messing up the mounting surface. So I'm gonna put a magnet here. There we go. That's it. Has a little bit of play, but none of this is, how can you say, like gonna deal with any of the torque from the engine. So it's just gotta hold it up. So there we go. And is this level? It's a little high on this side, but it's level now. See, it's not too bad. Even if you want to level a little bit to the spout to get some air out, it'll work. So there we go. I can even add another bolt there and a bolt on the other side, but I'm not going to need to. See, there we go. So I'm going to add this angle iron to the front of this because when I took this whole piece off, it was real flimsy right at this point. So I'm going to add this angle iron back on to this way, and it'll give a good little platform too if need be to help support this bar when it comes out, when it slides in. So I'm just going to go ahead and get that welded up, and then as you see I have the side bars off, and then I'll show you how it comes apart, and I'll show you guys everything with it being assembled. But we're adding that for stability so it doesn't flex, because what I'm afraid is when I take it off and I store it and that bends, then that's eventually going to get weak. So I guess I could have just made them in two pieces too, you know. That's also the option, is you can make this in two pieces as well. But I'm gonna go ahead and already have it measured, and so just got to clean up the areas and get it welded in. So I'm going to show you how it disassembles, okay? So Boom. You can even keep this on for like putting one of those big pans on there if you want, or extra stability of the engine stand, because it does add, when you have this frame on, it has quite a bit of stability. So that's the frame, that's the construction, and then we'll go in part 2 of the video where we're installing the radiator, the wiring, the fuel pump, all that stuff. But I'm going to rebuild this first. While this is at the machine shop, then I'll work on stuff like that. I just needed the engine on the stand to finish everything else. But there you go, engine teardown time.